Alright, so we're going to start by making part A here. That's the box which says it's 1 inch by 3 inch by 8 inch. And if you look, this part right here has the dovetail in the bottom and in the top. So when we switch over to looking at this view, that's this section right here. It's in the bottom and in the top. So our sketch is going to look like this, 1 inch tall also, and we're going to extrude it out to 8 inches, and this is where the recess is. So we'll get to that information in a minute. So first thing we're going to do is go over here. I'll start a new drawing. Start new, click create, and start a sketch right there and go like this. Alright. So I'll start here by coming down like this, and I'm going to try to do this time using as many of the or the automatic settings that I can. So if I come down here and do this, see how it's automatically creating those, it's automatically creating the constraints. Alright, so there's a couple that are going to be off, but let's say I tried to do this one where these are collinear, right? It's going to tell me I did it already, so that's good. And I might say that this is horizontal, right? And it looks like it may automatically do those, but maybe not. So now, yeah, it did it automatically. So I'll do a coincident constraint, put this down here on the corner, right? Ooh, don't like that one at all. So I'm going to move this one over here, hit escape twice, grab that and move it this way. And I'll grab this one and move it over here somewhere. Alright, so then we'll sit here and we'll say that these two are equal to one another. Right, and we'll say that these two are equal to one another. And we'll say that these two are equal to one another right there. I kind of have an idea what's going on here now. So I'm going to put a dimension on and start with this one and say that's 0.25. This one dimension from here to here was also 0.25. And from here to here was 0.125, right? I made those all equal all around there. And so then, let's see. Oh, if I put an overall right here, from here down to here, and say that that's 1, what does that solve for me? Not too much yet. Let's say that these two are equal to one another, so that should make those work out all right. That's interesting. Maybe I need to put a dimension on the overall width here, which should be 3, and let's see what it solves for us there. Solves some stuff. But this didn't work out, so I'm going to hit escape twice. I'm going to move this over here. So this is just, you see how this works. So some of those work out all the time, sometimes they don't. So I'll put a dimension on from here to here and click that right there. And I'll just click this one because I want them to always be the same. And I'll put a dimension that goes from here to that line, and I'll click on that one so it's the same there. And then I'll say that these two are equal to one another right here. So now we've got that, so this is fully constrained and they should all fit one another. Finish that sketch, and then I'll extrude it. This is just one way to do it. There's multiple ways to do it. It does take practice, so that's what you're going for. So then we got this part done. I'll click OK there. I'm going to right click on this and click New Sketch. So I'm going to draw that on the top here. I'll click a rectangle and just put a rectangle in here, and I'll worry about putting the fillets on the ends there in a minute. So this part right up here is what we're starting to talk about there. So this is 1/4 of an inch and 7 1/2, and then 3/8 of an inch and 2 1/4. So if I go here, I'm going to put a dimension on that was from here to here is 0.25, and then this was 7 1/2 right here, so 7.5. So I got those two constrained. Then from the end to right here was 3/8, so 0.375. And it was 2 1/4 right there, so 2.25. So I got that done, finished that sketch, and now I got to figure out how far I'm going to extrude this. It's going to cut in there, and it's going to be the depth, and it may be 0.5. Looks like 0.5 might work. It's probably, all right, so this is how this is going to work. So let's go back over here to this view and look, right? Because this is the middle piece that we're talking about. So we're trying to figure out how deep this goes right here. Well, the entire part is 1. So we're going to have to get this line in here, we have to subtract that 1/4 of an inch to get to that point. So 1 minus 1/4 is going to be 3/4 of an inch. Oops, right here. So this 1 minus this 3/4, this 1 inch minus this 1/4 leaves 3/4 of an inch from here to here, and there's a 1/4 inch there. So we subtract that 1/4, so it is 1/2 an inch. So we'll stick with this 0.5 deep and finish the sketch there. So that's that. And this part right over here tells us that the radius on this is 3/8 of an inch. So we'll go in here and we'll put a fillet radius right there of 3/8. So you can literally type 3/8 right there, and it should be fine. So I'm going to click on the line that's in the corner. Oops, I don't want to do that. Cancel that. So I'll click, I made a mistake and clicked the wrong thing. So 3/8 is right. I'm going to click those vertical lines, not only horizontal lines. Click that one and click this one. And then click apply. So we're good there. So we got that all done. So at this point, we'll click save. And we're going to save this as the box. And I'm going to save it that way and call this part right here. I'm just going to add an A to it since I've already made it once. I'll make an A there. And so that adds it to a new version. So now we've got that part made. Time to make the drawing for it. So I'll click open, or I'll click new, ANSI inch IDW. Get that opened up there. And I'm going to change the sheet size right away to size D. And so now we got this. So I'm going to put my base view in. I'll turn it sideways this way. That's great right there. We might even be able to get away with making it larger. I don't know. It might be too large for what we're doing. Let's just see what happens. So we'll click that, project off of this from here to here and here to here. Right click and create. All right. Let's go to and I wanted to do that so I can get this a little bit bigger. So I'm going to do dimension that does the overall length on this as 8. And I'll do the one that has the overall height. So I'm going to go from there to there and make that 1 inch on that part. And then we'll talk about doing the width part of it right here. So I'm going to go from here to here on that. So I got the width of that out there. All right. I'll do the dimensions for this right up here. So I'll go from the end point right here. I'm going to go from there to right here, from that line to this line, and make that 1/4 of an inch. And I'll do one that goes from there to there. So that's it. So now I don't need to add that over here. We can go over a tolerance stack up another day. But for right now, we don't want to put that in here. Right? So then the next thing we'll worry about is putting on a dimension that goes from here to here to tell us how wide that needs to be. There. And we're also going to worry about this doing a dimension from there to there. Right? So that's 3/8 of an inch. You might want to hit escape twice and then right click on this, put precision, and change that to 3 decimal places. All right, so that's that. We've got an overall width there. So now let's worry about these things right here. Oh, wait, before we go too far, we want to do this right here and say that this is 0.38, and we will call it typical. Cap lock on. Typical there, and right click on that, click OK, right click on it, and change the right click right on it, and do the dimension precision to that. So that tells us what it is here. Now, we can do a couple of things here. We're going to dimension this right here. We got to know how deep this is, and we'll get there in a second, but I want to make sure I get these dimensions in here correct, right? So these are the dimensions for that part. For this feature, so what we want to do is dimension that feature. So that works out there. We'll go ahead and do the same type of thing down here. I'm going to do from there to here, and I'm going to put that right here. And I'll do one that's right here, like that. And I'll do one that goes from this line to this line right here. Now, I want those to be lined up, but I don't like the location of that, so I'll hit escape twice. And I want to move this down here so it eliminates confusion when we put it in the middle there. We've already decided how tall this part is here. Those features are taken care of there. So generally you don't do dimensions to hidden lines, but in this case it's going to be okay. So we'll put that there to tell us how deep that feature goes. Alright, so that tells us what the feature is. We could go back and place a view now at this point, since that's all there, and do a projected view off of like that one there, and put this here, and click create, and then I'll double click on it, change the scale to something smaller. Let's see if half fits. Half fits really, really nicely. So I'll put that there, and that's good. So double click the mouse wheel to zoom the extents, go to file, and at this point we'll go to iProperties. We're going to change this. The title of this is box. So all caps, turn your cap lock on and make that a box. The company is iStem Foundations. Oops. iStem Foundations. The project, we're going to switch over to here. And we're going to say the part number is 102-2-002. The description of it, again, is box. We'll put that there. These things matter for this and for moving it on to the next part. So we should be able to click apply and close from there, and it's filled in enough of this to move forward. So that's how you make that part. For now, we're not going to worry about printing them or anything like that, and we'll move on to the next part.